three evidence-based practices that really we focus in on are our family education and support calls, our heavy emphasis on cognitive behavioral therapy, and our medication management. So to start with the family education and support, or FES calls, a lot of programs out there do some elements of family therapy, but FES differs from that in the way that it provides a lot of psychoeducation, not just to the individual in treatment, but to their family or their support network, whoever that may be, which is we find to be really key in helping to reestablish healthy and effective communication, which, as someone looks to, move back into the community and, establish a support network, it's really important to, have that, to start that while you're still in treatment and, to get that base of knowledge and, those healthy coping strategies out there. So FES, I would say, is hugely important, and it's once a week. It allows for people to share their experience, for the families to share their experience, and to really navigate the whole recovery process together. The second evidence-based practice that I think we really rely on heavily at the Commons is cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. It's at the root of really just about everything we do. Certainly we have a once weekly CBT group, but it finds its way into one-on-one psychoeducation, individual therapy sessions. It's a common thread throughout much of what happens at the Commons. And the reason I find it to be important is that it allows people to begin to assert control over their experience, whether it's a craving or anxiety or depression or anger. These are emotions that a lot of times are hot cognitions. It's not something that people are used to necessarily having control over. But through gaining some comfortability with CBT and some measure of acceptance and control and further education on it, people really can begin to assert that control over what previously had perhaps led their life astray or caused them some difficulties. And lastly, the third evidence-based practice, just to focus in on a little bit here, is medication management. And that's certainly not anything that's unique to us here at WestBridge. And it's an evidence-based practice that I think a lot of organizations will stand by. But what I think makes us different is that we fully buy into the notion that we want to have a participant find a medication regimen that works for them. If we just find a medication that kind of works for that participant and it helps treat their symptoms, but they have side effects and they're not really sold on the medication, then ultimately we're foolish for expecting that person to continue on that medication regimen when they leave residential treatment and continue on into independent living. So we really encourage an open dialogue between the treatment team, the providers, and the participant and their family as well, just so we can all be on the same page. And if a medication's not working, okay. There's multiple medications out there that we can try, and residential treatment it's a perfect opportunity for people to try and find the right medication. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of other evidence-based practices that we employ at the Commons, but for me, those three would be the ones that I'd focus in on.
Yeah, no, thanks, Will. I think those are great. And what I love about each of what you said that stands out to me is that the participant is actively involved in all of them. So appointments with the providers, it's about joint decision making. Right. Family education and support, the participant is there and part of the process. So we're all, truly coming together, being part of the same team to have these discussions and discuss treatment.
Yeah, if it's something where the participant feels as though it's being done around them, mm-hmm. You might have some measure of success for a little while, but you want the person who's part of treatment to actually be involved in that decision-making process, because otherwise it's probably not going to really work so well.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.